So we're gonna go over to Lauren's and we're just gonna be like BFFs on the sofa.
This is going in the uncut version.
Talking about gay shit and feelings.
And didn't you always think when you were playing Sims growing up, like, this would be 10 times better if you could see them bang?
Basically, me and Lauren have been mates for like 10 years. We've literally been through everything together. Like,
everything.
Yeah, some really bad relationships. And some okay relationships.
Mostly bad.
Mostly bad.
With crackers. I did a video on anxiety in lockdown.
Give us some tips.
So it's things that I've used, because I suffer with anxiety, as you're well aware. What I just sort of said was about grounding techniques and ways of reducing anxiety, because you will never eliminate anxiety completely, because it's actually something that's there to say, hold on a second, something's not right. Fucking nice, mate.
Nice, but on the bar, I'm too anxious.
But we just develop anxiety over things that we perceive as threats, and sometimes it doesn't make logical sense for that.
Yeah. But you haven't actually felt that anxious in lockdown, have you? Because actually it's been...
Just get to play Sims every day, so...
Oh yes.
Sims.
I downloaded some modifications on Sims, so it's like
Porn. I highly recommend it.
definitely more realistic anyway, like you actually play the game.
And didn't you always think when you were playing Sims growing up, like, this would be 10 times better if you could see them bang? Or was that just me?
Absolutely, yeah.
They'd all be pixelated still. And I was like, they need to cut that
Yeah, that's
pixelation.
true, yeah.
Honestly, I sit there and I play it for hours and I think, damn, my Sims have got laid more than I have this year.
What do you think are the main differences about having sex with a boy and then having sex with a girl?
The penis. I was dating men when I was growing up. And then I think I was 19 when I had my first girlfriend. And when we got together, there was no thought in my head that went, this doesn't feel right, this is the wrong thing, which is strange. I then slept with a guy a couple of years later, and I literally felt like a vegetarian that ate meat.
I guess unless you really loved them. If for some reason I'd fallen in love with a guy,
this is it.
It might not feel as bad.
I may be what you would say bisexual, but actually I identify as a gay woman, I would say. Although I can sleep with a man, I don't connect with a man. I don't know if it's the norm, but like for me, I can make sex just sex. But now, I think building self-love and self-respect, it kind of ties into that a little bit, because now I care about myself a lot more. I'm not willing to invalidate my boundaries as much.
Sure.
I demand more, I demand a connection.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, I've never been able to have meaningless sex. Every time I've had sex, I'm like, I would get the candles out, like have Boys to Men on in the background.
It's really funny as well when you look back on people and you think that you were really emotionally connected to them, and you look back and you're like, was I on crack? For me, it was validation at some points, which is pretty sad. But now I love myself fully, so. Do you know what I wrote in the book? Most dads get their daughter a bike for their birthday. Mine gave me daddy issues, which I clearly valued so much because I still have them.
Have you met anyone that actually thought they were gay just because they either hate men or they feel like they had issues with their dad?
I used to think like that.
Did you?
Last year.
That's really interesting, yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was just like this general like fear of men or like dislike of men. I got into a relationship, well, I started seeing a guy last year, and I realised then that it's not because of that, it's just I don't connect with them. And I noticed the difference for me, it wasn't actually about the gender as such, it's about the way a gender is. Do you know what I mean? Like women, like we think in a different way to men, and that's what I find attractive. The emotional side of stuff, it's just there's something lacking in a relationship with a man for me. And I feel like I will never get to the level I get to with a woman.
What's the difference between someone's sex and their gender?
Sex is like anatomically, is that the right word? Like your anatomy, I'd say. Whereas gender is your persona, your being. Like, so you could be have the sex of like a guy, but you have the gender of a woman.
Sure, so more like what you were your sex is kind of what you were given at birth.
Yes.
And then your gender is what you choose to be identified as.
Or what you feel you are.
Yes.
And I know a guy who, you know, from a very young age, like before he could have any influences or able to make a decision, knew that he was a girl.
I don't really feel like I would take big steps towards being trans, but I can relate to not feeling comfortable being called a lady, and I don't really like being this. Like, I don't really like that. So I can relate. I guess I don't even know if that's relating, but the people are like, "Oh, she's a lady." I'm like,
I wouldn't ever call you a lady.
I know,
like,
but people obviously do. Like as you go about life and that. And
maybe for you, because for me, my belief is that everything is on a spectrum. Every single thing in life, like we're all on a spectrum of something. So when it comes to sexuality, you can fall one end of the spectrum, fall down the other. You could be here, you could be there, whatever it is. And I think gender is kind of the same thing. Like,
I'll be honest, I don't even know everything about.
I don't know a lot.
This.
Like,
no. I see words sometimes and like gender names, and I'm like, I really need to like educate myself because I don't know. I feel like I'm in this community, but actually I don't actually know
of it. I'm guilty of that. Like I totally feel like I don't know enough, and that's from ignorance probably on my part. Like we invest energy sometimes in the areas that we feel most passionate about, and actually to represent a whole community, we maybe need to like look at everything. I do believe like I have days where I'm very girly. But then I have days where literally I just want to rock, like when I go skateboarding, I'm like, I just want to rock like my baggy t-shirt and like kind of channel like a different vibe. And I'm not picking and choosing, that's just who I am. I have, moments where I embrace my femininity, and I have moments where because I believe we all have a feminine and a masculine side. Yeah. And I just choose to embrace the different qualities of both.
I think more so now, because trans people are like way more out there, and we're seeing way more about them, and we're learning more about their mindset and stuff. And I told Hannah, like, it got me thinking, like, do I want to do that? Like,
do you think you would? I never knew this about you. This is good.
Well,
why have we never talked about this?
I know,
this is happening.
It's because when you see it more, and you see it more being like openly accepted and discussed, you do think like. All I'm saying is that I can relate to a lot of it.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if I want to take those steps to like really go forward and have operations and take testosterone and stuff. I don't know if obviously I'm comfortable in my own body. I think that's obviously what it is, isn't it? And if you're not, that's when you want to start changing. So obviously I don't feel that much that way. But I don't not feel that much that way.
It's interesting though.
I'm in the middle.
I would literally be like, no,
Absolutely not,
I want to keep, I quite like being like a female, like I like that. But it's very interesting you say that, because obviously there is, again, on the spectrum, because you're like kind of like edging down another area and I'm up here. So I reckon, as I say, it's on a spectrum.
I think if I could choose, and like if I could wake up in the morning and be a man, if someone were like, if you could, would you? I'd probably be like, yes.
Really?
Yeah, but I don't think I'd go through the changes of it all and that. I don't think I'm emotionally equipped enough to do that.
Do you think you're at a disadvantage for being a woman? Do you ever feel inadequate as a woman?
In my career,
yes.
Because if I was a straight guy singing about everything that I'm singing about, I'd probably, and as talented as I am, I think I would literally be in a better position.
Yeah, but this again comes into another subject. So, with the Black Lives Movement that's been going on, everyone's kind of been sort of like, they've gone, hold on a second, we need to invest more time and energy into black businesses. Do you know what I mean? We need to stop putting white privilege and stop doing it. And I feel like as a community, we need to support other gay and lesbian, bisexual, whatever.
Big facts.
Our way of doing more for that community is giving them a platform.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you know what I mean?
It's very true. And I don't think we're bad at it though. I think as a community, lesbians fucking love lesbian artists. They really do. Like,
if there's any out there, Tash Sultana.
Yeah, that's it. And like all this girl in red stuff and all that coming up, like lesbians flock to it because it is so relatable for us.
Yeah. Mate, if there's a lesbian film that comes out, it could be terrible, and I'll be like, I love it.
Have you seen Below Her Mouth?
Oh my god, I'm watching it at the moment. I watched half it last night, and I'm watching the next half tonight. I was recommended. Like, she gets off on a tap in the bath.
What? Oh.
Yeah, it's really good.
I think the moral of the story is don't use a tap. I mean, what? Oh, she's
using the
running water.
Yeah.
No. I was like, is she putting a tap in herself? No. I mean, some taps might be alright.
Hold on,
No,
wait.
I'm just thinking of those.
What? And turn it on? You blow up like a little hot water bottle or like a water balloon.
The running water thing, I've never done that, but I'm
me neither. Been comfy on the warmth of the bath, and it was like, I just meant like a power drill going at me. Like I need force.
So anyway, make sure you follow Lauren on Instagram.
Yeah, follow me on Instagram. It's Lauren Vic. LaurenVic.
We'll probably do more.
Yeah, 100%.
When we have more stuff to talk about.
I have so much to talk about.
Oh yeah, maybe say what you want us to talk about.
Because
we're like 30-year-old lesbians.
We're really experienced and we know answers to some things, okay?
Everything.
Okay, peace out, motherfuckers. Boo!